In February 1959, 9 experienced Soviet hikers set out for a mountain summit in the Ural range. They never came back. When rescuers found their camp 2 weeks later, the tent had been slashed open from the inside. The hikers had fled into -30-degree temperatures, without boots, without coats, without explanation. Some were found frozen in the snow. Others had injuries so severe that investigators compared them to a car crash. One was missing her tongue. The Soviet government classified the case. The official conclusion: the hikers died due to, quote, an unknown compelling force. 65 years later, we still don't know exactly what happened on Dyatlov Pass, but we're going to look at every theory, every piece of evidence, and let you decide. The year is 1959. The Soviet Union is in the middle of the space race. Stalin has been dead for 6 years, and in the city of Sverdlovsk, now Yekaterinburg, a group of students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute are planning the trip of a lifetime. The leader is Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, a radio engineering student and experienced mountaineer. His group of 9 includes 8 men and 2 women, all between 20 and 38. Most are seasoned hikers with multiple expeditions behind them. This is not their first winter in the Urals. Their goal: Otterton Mountain, a Category 3 route, the highest difficulty rating in Soviet hiking, the kind of climb that requires certification to even attempt. They set off on January 25th. Igor sent his last telegram on February 1st. After that, silence. When they failed to return on schedule, a search party was dispatched. What they found at the campsite on February 26th would baffle investigators for decades. The tent was set up on the slope of a mountain called Kholat Syakhl. In the local Mansi language, that name translates to Dead Mountain. The tent itself was intact, except for cuts in the fabric. Cuts made from the inside. Whatever the group was running from, they were in such a hurry, they didn't use the entrance. They cut their way out. All 9 sets of footprints led away from the tent, downhill toward the tree line. The track showed no signs of panic, no running, no stumbling, just walking, calmly, in the dark, in temperatures that would kill an unprotected person in minutes. The first 2 bodies were found near a large cedar tree about 1.5 miles from the camp: Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko. They were wearing only underwear. Their hands were burned. They had apparently tried to climb the tree or light a fire. Igor Dyatlov was found 1,000 feet back toward the tent, as if he had been trying to return. Zinaida Kolmogorova was found nearby, face down in the snow, both frozen. Rustem Slobodin had a small fracture in his skull, but doctors said it wasn't enough to cause death. He froze first. The final 4 were found 2 months later, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. And this is where the case gets truly disturbing. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol had massive skull damage. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryov had fractured ribs on both sides. The kind of pressure trauma you'd see in a high-speed collision. The force required was enormous. And Lyudmila Dubinina, her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips were missing. Theory 1. Avalanche. The most widely accepted explanation today, and the one officially adopted by Russian investigators in 2019. An avalanche, or a smaller snow slab, hit the tent without warning, causing the group to cut their way out and flee in disorientation and darkness. The injuries to the last 4 hikers are consistent with being buried and crushed under heavy snow. The missing soft tissue on Dubinina. Decomposition and scavenging animals over 2 months under snow. But critics point out that the slope angle was too shallow for a natural avalanche, and early investigators found no evidence of snow disturbance near the tent. Theory 2. Infrasound. Some researchers suggest that certain wind patterns through mountain terrain can create infrasound, sound below the range of human hearing. At the right frequency, infrasound causes irrational fear, disorientation, even hallucinations. The hikers may have fled the tent in a collective panic response, with no external threat at all. This theory is difficult to prove or disprove, but it would explain why they left calmly, and why they seemed to head toward the tree line rather than back to any form of safety. Theory 3. Military testing. The Ural region in 1959 was active Soviet military territory. Some investigators noticed an orange glow in the sky, reported by other expeditions in the area around the same time. Parachute mines, which detonate above ground and create massive pressure waves, could explain the internal injuries without visible external wounds. The Soviet government's insistence on classifying the case and restricting the area for 3 years after the incident adds weight to this theory for many researchers. Theory 4. Krivonischenko's radioactivity. When personal effects from some of the hikers were later tested, they showed elevated radiation levels. Krivonischenko had worked at a nuclear facility. Could he have been carrying contaminated clothing? Some theorize the group may have been exposed to a radioactive source, causing rapid deterioration and disorientation. This theory has never been conclusively confirmed or denied. Theory 5. The Mansi people. Early investigators briefly suspected the indigenous Mansi, who considered the mountains sacred. But this was quickly ruled out. The footprints were only those of the hikers, and the Mansi had no documented history of violence toward outsiders. Here's what investigators agree on, regardless of cause. The group made the decision to leave the tent quickly. They did not panic immediately. The footprints show controlled movement. They reached the tree line where 2 of them attempted to start a fire. The fire failed, or wasn't enough. They began dying of hypothermia. The last 4, those with catastrophic injuries, were found in a ravine, apparently having survived the longest. Evidence suggests they may have taken clothing from the already dead members of the group, trying to stay warm. They died anyway. In 2019, Russia reopened the investigation. After 14 months, they officially closed it again. Avalanche. No criminal elements involved. Case closed. Most families of the hikers do not accept this conclusion. The pass was officially named Dyatlov Pass in honor of the group. A memorial stands there today. People still hike to it, and people still come back with no explanation for the feeling they get standing on that slope. 9 people. 1 night. No survivors, no definitive answers. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most studied and most debated, unexplained events of the 20th century. Every theory has evidence. Every theory has holes. What do you think happened? Drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one. If this kind of case is what you're into, subscribe to the Vanished Archive. Every week we go deeper into the cases that were never truly solved, the files that should have stayed closed. The next case is already waiting.